I want you to go into the lead flow.
Or the lead flow?
Yeah, this is some powerful stuff right here. And when you're utilizing the screen, I'm going to show you guys my screen right here. Turn it around. When we go into this powerful software that we have right here, you can see that we have access to cash buyers, we have access to low equity, we have access to bankruptcies, we have access, and that's a powerful niche. That right there, when you have almost 3 million people in there who have filed bankruptcy, that's huge, right? We have these absentee owners, where there's 32 million of them all around the country. We have free and clear properties, 29 million of them. We have high equity property. So if you ever want to buy leads from us, we have the creme de la creme of all the leads. We have cash buyers. We have, these are big ones here, right, too. Low equity. Scroll down a little bit more. We have probate properties. That's huge right there also. If people are going crazy looking for private lenders, look, they're right there. 800,000 of them almost are sitting right there. And then we have 12 million pre-foreclosures, which we're going to show you how to dominate. We're going to dominate these pre-foreclosures. We have a list of renters. So when you're looking to own or finance your properties, you can reach out to them. But we also have, we have tax lien properties right there, 2.9 million of them. And we have some upside down properties right there that are about, see, most people will walk away from these upside down properties, but we show you how to take those properties and do a wrap around them. So what we're going to do right now is just going to go into these tax lien properties right here. So Mary, if you could just go ahead on and get into that one right there. You want to click on the tax lien, you click on it. Now you just go up a little bit and do your, remember you got to go to the thing, yeah, right there. So right now what we want to do is we want to do a search for the lead date. What do we got for the date? 2016 to 2017. Let's go back. We're gonna go back 6 months. Last 6 months. And now we're going to select the county, Wayne County, which is the largest. What is it? The largest county?
Yes.
It's the largest county in Michigan.
Yes.
Okay. The largest county. Now we're going to hit search. And as you can see right there, just by hitting that search for the last 6 months, there are 1,061 results, right, of people who have tax lien properties. And I'm just going to turn this, let's just see, we actually have, we have the address, we have the name of the person, we have the address, right, we have all their information. Now let's just click into that.
Which one, the first one?
Yeah, first one. And basically what we would do is that, okay, I guess that just takes us straight to the address to let you just send it straight out, because we know that they have a tax lien sale on that property. Let me just turn around now. And now what I want to do is I just want to break some stuff down real quick. So what we're about to do is we're about to go out to, send out mailing campaigns to everyone who has a tax lien on their property. Now, if you've been with me for any amount of time, you understand that you have a tax lien that will go into a tax deed, and it will create a sale on a property, right? So what's going to happen after that sale, it's going to be bid up to a certain amount of money above the real estate taxes that is owed to the county. Now, the county only wants the back taxes. That's all the county's interested in, is the back taxes. Anything above that goes to the last owner of record once it actually goes to the sale. What we're doing is we're reaching out to these people before the sale. We're also going to be sending out letters to the excess proceeds from the money that's sitting there after the sale. But here's the bombshell about Michigan. Michigan has, like the state of Texas, like the state of Georgia, like the state of Delaware, I believe, and there are some other states, but Michigan is infamous for having what's called a 6-month redemption period. I'm going to let Mary ride on that real quick for you and explain to you what we're talking about with this 6-month redemption period for the foreclosures.
The 6-month redemption period means that Once the property go to sell, then you have 6 months in which to get your property, buy your property back. So if it's in January, then you have until July in which to get your property, pay whatever they need, whatever they're requesting as far as how much you would owe, and you got 6 months from that date. A lot of people don't know that because once it goes to sell, a lot of people think they automatically got to move out. You have 6 months in which to redeem that property, which is get it back.
So as a seasoned investor who understands the redemption period, you have people that are getting up and leaving from their property. They will probably take some money to actually, if you can reach them before the sale, that's the caveat here. To reach them before the sale, they may work out some type of deal where you can become a co-owner of that property with them. Now, when it goes to sale, there's going to be excess proceed money left over, and that money can come back to you, or you can partner with that person and maybe just buy the property straight out from them for a certain amount of money. Could be a couple of $1,000s, especially if they've just left. If they've left the property, well, now we get into something called skip tracing, and we start tracking these people down that have left the property because they don't understand the law. They did not have to leave the property. So when you understand the power of that and using the excess proceeds and actually using the right of redemption, which is 6 months in North Carolina. So that means, let's just say 1,000 properties go to sale this month. And let's say 100 people leave because they know the auction date, but they don't know the rules. Well, we could contact them by going to this list right here of the tax liens and say, hey, we see that you have tax liens on the problem. We can pay the taxes for a portion of the property. There's so many things that can be done. But because they are not leaving it, see, this is not a judicial state. This is non-judicial. So the court doesn't have the final say. They still can come back and get that property. That is why I love it out here. So now we're talking about the excess proceeds. We're talking about the tax liens. We're talking about the land bank properties. We're talking about the out-of-state owners. We're talking about the county properties. There's so many different properties here. If I were you, I'd try to find a way to move to Detroit. I'm serious. I would try to find a way to move to Detroit because, listen, we got a whole bunch of Detroiters sitting up here and don't know what's going on, right? So if you know this, and let's just honestly, this is a place where you can easily turn $10,000. Let's just say you had $10,000 on a credit card, right? You could turn that $10,000 each. Okay, you could turn that $10,000. Let's say we picked up 3 properties with the $10,000. Now, this is something where, a lot of people say, I don't want to put money on my credit card, but this is bull because this is good debt right here, right? So now you take in, let's just say you bought 3 properties or maybe 4, just depending on, the luck of the draw from the auction. So each one of those properties that we get for, let's say, anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000, you can turn that into $50,000. So if you could take 3, let's just say 3 properties with $10,000, each one of those can be turned into $50,000. So now you just turned $10,000 into $150,000. Where else are you doing that in this country? Nowhere. Nowhere. So for people that are looking at this, or for people, share this with your friends, please. For people that are looking at this, for people who don't recognize opportunity, this is why this guy with 15 years of experience has left sunny Orlando, Florida to go to Detroit, Michigan. Not just because of what Dan Gilbert did, not just because it's the 9th ranked tourist place in the world, not just because Little Caesars Pizza's here, the Detroit Pistons are coming back, there's like 5 sports teams here, the new rail system is coming in. Not because of that, But because there's nowhere in this country that you can work for a solid week, come out here and buy a house, put a little bit of work into it, and turn around and sell it for 50, 60, 70, $80,000. That's on a quick tip. That's not even owner financing. That's on a quick tip. So if you can become that person where you, let's just say we took a small loan out. Let's say you took a loan out the bank of $10,000, $20,000. Every couple of thousand that you spend, and I'm just going to keep it on a low end for you. Every couple of thousand you spend, you can sell it for 40. So let's just say every 3 you can spend on the low end, you can sell it for $40,000. That's like 13 times your money. I don't know if you get it. Detroiters, I don't know if you get it.
I don't know if they're getting it.
So I sit here, and Mary and I were having this conversation as Mary was telling me that she's heard about it and she's known about it. I'm like, well, why didn't you do it? And she says to me, well, I didn't want to do it alone. I said, well, if you would have done it alone, you would have been rich alone.
You're right.
So to be in this position, I'm telling you, you're not going to see this again. You're not going to see this again in your lifetime. If you're smart, you'll take your money and you'll put, like on the casino tables, right? All in. That's what I've done. All in. Now, here's another bombshell. We're setting up a property management company in Detroit now because the opportunity is so amazing. I've been talking to property owners who are pissed off with the service that they're getting from the traditional property management company. Miguel, I see you there listening in. When I tell you, like, this is the time to pick up your family and go and move to Detroit, like, you're not going to get an opportunity like this again, you know? And I know people get attached to things, but this is the gold rush like it was in San Francisco. And when you see this, what's going on, when you see the money that's being flooded into this place, when you see the investors that are getting 3 times the rental amount, renting their properties to the medical students, it just makes sense. It just makes sense. Like, all of your woes are over now. Every financial goal that you've ever had, it's right here in Detroit. I had an investor friend that we used to flip properties with, and we used to flip properties back in Florida. And he said, hey man, you're still in Michigan? And I said, yeah, I am. I said, to be honest, I'm not in a rush to go back to Florida because I've never seen an opportunity like this. And he said, I told him what was going on. And he said, I've always heard of it, but once again, he doesn't know anyone in Detroit, but now he knows me. He instantly told me, when I told him what my plan was on acquiring the single families and going after all of the multifamily properties here, he wanted to partner with me. And he said, right off the rip, I put $250,000 up. $250,000 up to follow what you're doing in Detroit. He's like, I will fly out there right now if I can be your partner. I said, whoa. His name is Sadir. I said, hold on, Sadir. See, Sadir is Arab, right? Arab. And Sadir is about money. And he told me, once he saw me doing some deals in Florida, he's been trying to partner with me for about the last year now. Now, he wanted me to give him access on how I get these properties so that he could teach it to his family. His family came over from, they were in the Middle East somewhere. And one of the things he said to me, he said, why is it that black people and minorities don't take advantage of all of the opportunities that you guys have in the United States. Now, he's not the first person that said this to me. I have Jewish friends and I have friends from other nationalities that said the same thing. How come your people won't come together to take advantage of all of the opportunities that are provided to you? Why won't you guys trust each other? Why won't you come together? Why are you struggling? Why are you in poverty? When we've come over from, whether it's Italy or from the Middle East, Pakistan, these guys are Pakistani. And what he said to me is, he said, I want to bring my family now to Detroit, and I want to partner with you on what you're doing in Detroit right now. The guy is willing to get on a plane right now from California to come. But he wants to know my secrets. I'm not going to give anyone my secrets. I know how he is. And it's not that anything is wrong with that. It's that, see, when people see opportunity, maybe it's everybody else except black people. Maybe that's it. I think that's what it is. And maybe I'm not really black, right? But when people see opportunity that can not only change their lives, but can change the lives of generations, they take advantage of it. This gentleman, his family lives out in somewhere in San Diego, California. He stays in a nice 6,000 square foot home. He's been to my home. I haven't been to his home, sorry. I've been to his home in Tampa. Actually, he's going to probably be calling me because he wanted to do a special conference call with me and him and his son. And the plan is for them to uproot from Florida to come to Detroit, because Detroit is selling houses for $1,000. And in California, the same house that we could buy here would probably be $300,000 in California. $300,000 in California. And I've spoken to people in California as I've been here in Detroit. I've spoken to people in England. I've spoken to people from Canada. I've spoken to people from New York. We had a meeting with the doctor guy down at Starbucks downtown. Remember me?
Right.
And he was from New York. He was from Brooklyn. And I said, what are you doing out here? He said, huh? What did he say?
He said the opportunity. He came because he was told by one of his family members. He came here because he was told by one of his family members about the opportunities that was here in Detroit. And he moved his whole family here, and he's bought several properties.
Multi properties.
And his wife is the property manager, so she fixes him up like he has another job or whatever. And his wife,
he's a pharmaceutical representative or something like that, and his wife was going to medical school.
Yeah, but she dropped out.
They stopped to come to Detroit to pick up these properties, and there's people that are living here in Detroit, and Mary's been putting some stuff out there that can change your life financially, and I'm bringing 15 years of my experience, and I'm bringing about 100 years of my mentor's experience with me.
But he's buying them up. He's buying them up, and he's flipping them, and he's selling them.
He's flipping. He's got portfolios now of properties, and when I first came here,
and he bundling them up, so it's like, okay, you could get 5 properties for like $75,000. I think he told us whatever. So he putting them in bundles. He paid next to nothing for them, and he's making a killing off of them because he took advantage of an opportunity was presented to him. And he came from New York, and he brought his family. And like I said, he was told by some family members here what good opportunities, and he said he just came. And
he also said that his family told him that some people in his family, his friends, not his family, he said that his friends told him he was crazy
for coming
to come to Detroit.
Yeah, that he was crazy.
He said, they don't know I've made a fortune.
They told him he was crazy.
And this is the thing. He doesn't know how to get him the way that I know how to get him. He's paying retail. He's paying retail, but I think he came a couple of years before I got out here, right?
Right.
So maybe 3 years or something like that?
He's been for a minute.
3 to 5 years, something like that. So he came 3 to 5 years when it was even better. But now he's selling them off because the market is going up. And what's going to happen to people who listen to these videos and don't make a move, you're going to find yourself in a position, because what I tend to find is that when people are used to something, they're used to the area, maybe you're from this home area, you always think that, well,
You can always do it
the
later.
opportunity was 3 to 5 years ago because they were $200 back then. Now, what you don't understand, you think it's too high right now, but what you don't understand is that the properties are going up, 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 up. So while you're saying, well, I won't pay 1,000 because I remember when they were 500, people like me are saying, well, they've never been 1,000 where I live. Never. And we're coming in and we're buying the properties inside of Detroit. And to sit around, this is why I've invited my brother here. This is why I've invited my son here. This is why I'm on the conference calls with other investors around the country that are coming here. Now we're going to force the property values up because we're going to fix them and we're going to sell them off on owner financing. So the more that are sold off on owner financing by the methods that I teach, the more the property value is going to go up. The more the property value goes up, one day down the road, maybe next year or 2 years or 3 years from now, somebody's going to watch the news and the news is going to say it's a hot market in Detroit. And then everybody's going to come running and is going to push it up more. And this is where you acquire wealth. This is where you get wealth by catching a trend at the bottom and riding the wave all the way up. So, if you've gotten your income tax check, I don't know how to say this, but I'm going to say it. Don't run and pay bills because you're actually in an opportunity to pick up properties for $1,000. You got to understand that this doesn't happen in people's lifetime. It doesn't happen. So whatever you have to do, I mean, cash in your bridge cards. Forget about eating. Eat peanut butter and jelly. You do the 2-for-1 for the cash. Go into your 401k. Sell everything on eBay. Whatever you have to do. This is the opportunity because see, right here, we're in the office in downtown Detroit, in the Ren Center. And Mary's on the computer right now, going through our leads, going through our lists of thousands of tax liens, thousands and thousands of properties that are abandoned, vacant properties, all of this stuff that I know how to get for no money down. Mary, just actually, if you want to just recap the phone call that you had with 2 of the people today that you have appointments with tomorrow, Mary.
Okay, one guy, he's been in the home for 2 years. He basically said he just want a bigger house, and he's selling it for, it was $20,000 listed. He went down to 15. Now he's down to 10. But like I told him, I can't. I'm not going to even put in an offer until I actually see the property. So he's supposed to show it to me tomorrow at noon. And at that time, we'll discuss terms. He's willing to do owner financing, which is fine. He never told me what he would like down, which is negotiable. But in saying that, we're trying to get it for nothing down and do owner financing. And he's open to that. So I have a meeting with him tomorrow at noon. And he's a motivated seller. And I also have one, I'm waiting on a call back, but I talked to this one lady who she has a property for $20,000, well, $19,000. Some damage to the inside. It's a 3-bedroom, but she said, I guess the basement is a finished basement. So she said you could convert 2 of the rooms in a basement to 2 bedrooms. It's a 2-bathroom home. And she's willing to do owner financing as well as, and if it's not owner financing, she said rent to own. So those are very...
Okay. You skipped over a big chunk.
With chunk.
She said rent to own, but see, by having somebody behind you that's been doing this for a long time, she was trying to go through some whole negotiating thing with Mary, and I told her to say a couple of different things, and what she said is one of the questions is, well, if we can't do business, what's your plan B? What do you do if you don't sell the property? And she said that I'll rent the property. And she said, I'll rent the property for $450. So I told Mary to ask her, well, would you do a rent to own? And she said, absolutely. So now you're talking about being able to not buy, but control a two-family home for $450 a month. Her question was, could you put, how much of a deposit could you put down? Because she's looking to, I think, pay off a realtor that somehow got in the middle of this, but to control. And she said, how many years do you want it for? See, the thing about it is people here in Detroit, Michigan understand a land contract. They understand a rent to own. They understand owner financing. You don't have to explain it to them. They know that's the game here.
And she's really motivated because she doesn't live in this area. And she said it takes a lot to come to this particular area where she owned properties there. So she was trying to bargain over the phone, like, tell me what you can offer, tell me anything.
I mean, wasn't it like shooting fish in a barrel?
It was it was interesting to say the least. So she was just like, just tell me and I tell the realtor what we're gonna do.
Right.
I tell him, and long as he get paid, I don't care. So anyway, in saying that, I'm waiting on a call back. She's, like I said, she's motivated because she doesn't live in this area. So to come here for a rental property or anything like that, it's not worth her time nor her effort. So I know we could get that one for next to nothing because she's motivated. And she's very motivated.
That's the beauty. What I love about Detroit is that, what was there, like 1.4 million people here 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that. 50% of them left.
Yeah.
50% of the 1.4 million people left. And guess what they left behind? Houses. They left houses. People, remember when the market was upside down? Well, when the market is upside down, people think that they don't know about owner financing. They don't know about these creative strategies. So the way that they think that they're going to get their money back is by burning the house down. So as someone who works for the insurance agency as an adjuster, what do you find? Are you finding that people are just when it's a scheme or when people are just taking all their investment properties and burning them down, right?
A lot of them, I think, well, now that was when the market collapsed. People was burning their houses down because the economy was so bad for one moment. But now Detroit is coming back, and I think that they're more so looking to invest in Detroit. But our people is not investing. So, in saying that, it's not as many people trying to get out their homes as they were prior. But there's still a lot of good properties out there. And if we don't take advantage of it now, when it does come back, then a lot of people, you're gonna, instead of that $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, then you're gonna be spending $10 for the same $10,000 for the same properties you could have got for like $1,000 or $2,000.
Yeah.
So, in Detroit is on a comeback, and people don't realize it. But I'm not gonna say people don't realize it. My people don't realize it, and they're not capitalizing.
Every other nation, every Arab person, every Jewish person, every Italian person, everybody that we see out here on the set, they're not. It's not our people.
And on that level, Cecil was telling you about this guy that we met that came from New York. One of his things was, hey, they got the Pistons coming here. Not only that, they have the monorail, the rail that's going down, and the properties he was offering was in those areas. And his thing is, I could get top dollar for these now because there's so much going on, and people are coming back to the city. So the same people that moved out trying to go to the suburbs, now they're coming back to the city because it has so much more to offer than they had previously. So the suburbs is not really the place to be. Detroit, like he said, is one of the 9th places to live now. I mean, people want to come to Detroit.
Yeah, so. I never even knew that it was a tourist attraction like it is. And, I learned something new by coming here. But I really want you to pick this up right here. I really want you to catch this. What happened to Mary today was that she spoke to someone who's a motivated seller, who has a 2-family house, who's saying that if she doesn't do business with someone quickly because her tenant left out the house and left it a wreck, right? So Mary even told her, listen, we'll clean the place out. Don't worry about that. So her thing was, I'm going to rent out my property that can be converted into a 2-family house for $450. What does that tell us? It tells us that we can come in and control this property for the next 5 years for $450 a month. It means that we can rent out one side. What did you think the rent? That's Jefferson Chalmers, right? Was that?
I'm not sure exactly.
Well, for a 2-bedroom each side? 3 bedroom?
Three. It was
Okay.
three.
For the 3 bedroom, what can we expect what's a good rental amount?
Actually, I think we looked it up. It was $900.
Okay. So we can get like $900, but the whole thing we can control for $450 a month. Now, the next question was, how much of a deposit will you put down? Well, if she was going to rent it, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. If she was going to rent it, she would get the $450, either 1 month or 2 months rent. So that means that you can now come into a property here for basically $950 to $1,300 down, control it. You don't have to buy it. You control it for $950 or $900 to either $1,350, and you now control that property, which you can turn around and rent out one side of it for $900 a month. You can live in the other side for free. That's what's going on. You have to understand the power of this. Every single property, when we open up a newspaper, when we see that it's for rent, any property that is for rent and the person has to be a landlord, when they can now come in and say, just think about it. If you're a landlord and I'm calling you from my company, which is a nonprofit organization, and I'm saying to you, hey, instead of being a landlord, how would this work for you? What if we came in, guaranteed your monthly payment on time by the 5th of every single month? You don't have to worry about any repairs. We won't call you for anything. And we will actually pay you on time for the next 3 to 5 years. Would you be interested in that? If you're a landlord, what is your answer? We guarantee you the payment. Our company, not some regular Joe Schmo that just may be working at Walmart, but my company located right downtown in the General Renaissance GM building. Would you take this $400 a month? And you don't have to worry about us ever calling you for repairs. As soon as they say yes to that, there's 2 different contracts that you're going to fill out with them. You're going to fill out with a regular lease, and then you're going to also fill out a option agreement. This option form will allow you to control that property. That means that that price is locked in for you for the next 3 to 5 years, or however long you're able to get this property under contract. Now, how long does a person want to have somebody in there that's reliable? And our guarantee is, if we're going to put a tenant in it, but even if that tenant doesn't pay us, we're still going to pay you. Well, how can we do that? Well, this is how we're going to do it. The same way that we picked up this property, we're also at the same time, simultaneously, we are marketing for what we call tenant buyers, right? Tenant buyer is somebody who wants to get into a property, someone who wants to own a property, but they may have a couple of dings on their credit. Right? So for that tenant buyer coming in, they're going to have to put down 5 to 10 or as much as we can get percentage down. So let's take it back to this. The property's worth $50,000. Well, if you're putting 10% down, that's $5,000 that you have to put down. Now, this $5,000 is not a security deposit. You don't get it back when you move out, right? It's totally different because we're giving you the option to purchase this property. So we're coming in, putting down $450 or $950, right? Then we're going to turn around and we're going to put some advertisement out that the person coming in is going to give us $5,000, $7,000, whatever it is that they have saved up. Well, where do they get the money from? Maybe it's their income tax check. Maybe they were already in another foreclosure situation where they weren't paying any money for the last year or so, or at least we know they have 6 months where they're not paying anything because we're in a redemptive deed state. You have to understand the power of what you have in front of you. There is a redemption period in the state of Michigan that says even if you lose this is the law. This is the law that I'm quoting to you. Even if you are a victim of a foreclosure, any type of foreclosure, mortgage foreclosure, tax deed foreclosure, and you lose that property, you have 6 months to get that money back together to recuperate your property. Now, if you're a savvy investor, you're going to come in and you're going to market to those people who have lost their property because a great percentage of them have just picked up and left. And now they still have equitable title inside. They still are the owner of that property, so they can now quit claim that property to you. Once they quit claim that property to you, you are the last owner of record. You can now come in, pay back the 6 months back taxes, and you own that house. You own the house. So as I'm speaking to my Arab friend who's telling me, see, so I'll come in. I already know, I've already seen his self-directed IRA account. I know he has like $1.4 million in it. And he says to me, can I be your partner in Detroit? Arab guy, first time on the phone, speaking to him. I haven't spoke to him in maybe 2 months. We flipped properties together in Orlando. We flipped properties together in Orlando, Lake Mary, and what was that last place I was at? Bartow, Florida. I don't even know where Bartow, Florida is, but I found out because the same database that we have that we're sending out all of these letters to, someone responded and said, I'm from Bartow. I'm like, well, where's Bartow? He's like, well, it's an hour away from Orlando. So I drove from Dr. Phillips up to Bartow. We flipped a property together, and the gentleman was like, well, how did you find the property when all of the investors who lived in Bartow couldn't find it? Well, I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm very, very good at it. I've learned from the masters, right? So I find properties that real estate agents don't know about. I've had real estate agents call me and say, how did you get that deal? Can you do that for me? No. I mean, I'm probably one of the only investors that these real estate agents will contact, and they say, well, we know that you do your own marketing. We know, we list it for you. That I will do because I know I can get top dollar for that property. So understand, we're in a place where we pick up properties for $500, $1,000, properties that are worth $30,000, $40,000, and $50,000. Now, what most people don't understand about this real estate game, when you get really, really good at it, you'll understand that you can sell off portions of the lease. I just told you a secret, right? You can sell off portions of the lease. What landlord's ever thought about that? Right? When you have the option agreement, that's a built-in period of time that you control the property, and the seller, the owner, cannot sell it without reporting to you. That's control. Right? So let me break this down to you to make you fully understand this real estate option here. If you think about it, let's take it to the sports arena. And since I'm from the Northeast, I'm just going to use a team that most of you guys know, and maybe these Midwesterners hate, but we're just going to use the New York Yankees. Well, the New York Yankees are owned by the Steinbrenner family. George Steinbrenner and his sons, Stan, and all of those guys they're the owners of the New York Yankees. So what that means is if the team does good and the value goes up, their stock goes up and they make a lot of money. But on the flip side of that, if the team value goes down, all of the owners now lose money, right? Does this make sense? Okay. Let's talk about who the general manager is of the New York Yankees. The general manager of the New York Yankees, his name is Brian Cashman, right? He doesn't own the team, but he can decide who gets traded, who comes in, who's going to be the pitchers, what their salary is. And if the stock goes up in the team, he doesn't reap all of those benefits, but if it goes down, he doesn't get hurt either. He can just, if the stock goes down and the team goes under, he can just get up and leave and go to another team and control another team. That is what real estate options allow you to do, and most people don't even know about it. But it's the same paperwork that Walt Disney used to buy up all of Disneyland, all of Disney World. It's the same paperwork that Donald Trump had an option agreement on the Empire State Building, if anybody remembers that, right? So there's so much power in this game, and when you understand the power that you have in real estate, you literally play real life Monopoly with the rest of your life. The rest of your life, and you never ever suffer financially again. Because you're no longer going to be subject to buying at the top of the market, which means that when the market falls, that you fall victim to it. You see, if everybody else is going to come in and buy at 100% of the value when CNN tells you that it's a great market, see, that's when it's too late. That's when it's too late to buy in real estate. You have to be that savvy investor that knows how to get in at the bottom when it's a cold market, when nobody else is paying attention, and it's called an emerging market, right? So what I do is I identify emerging markets around the country and I go there and buy while everybody else is thinking that it's bankrupt or dead. So now, not only does my investor, who says to me after one phone call of talking to me for 15 minutes, he says, listen, I'll come in right now. Can I partner with you? And actually, he'll probably be calling me. My phone will probably be ringing. He says he's going to, well, maybe it's a little bit late now. But he's in Tampa right now. But he wants to come partner with me in Detroit to buy up all of Detroit. And what's going to happen is people who don't have home ownership, or if you're saying I'm going to wait a little bit longer, that's cool, because you'll probably end up buying properties from us. And I'm not going to sell them straight up. I'm going to sell them on owner financing. So we'll give you a mortgage, and that's going to allow us to make 3 times the amount of the current market value. This is the stuff that I teach people how to do. This is the stuff that Mary is sitting right here at her computer, right? She's sitting right here at her computer.
Right here at my computer.
Hold on. She's sitting right here at her computer going through the database, right? Going through the database of all the properties that I've shown her how to get into, right? Whatever it is, whatever type of property, if it's an empty property, if it's a property that's upside down, if it's a property that's been through probate, somebody's died, somebody's inherited the property, this is the database right here. And we can sit here right in the office in the GM building and go through every single property that we choose to, and we can pick them up for as low as $500. As you notice that we've actually picked up a condo for 0 money down, right? We'll pay a monthly payment with which we won't pay. Somebody else is going to pay, that is coming in and giving us at least a $5,000 to $10,000 deposit on. We're going to owner finance it off to them, and we're going to collect not only the monthly payment, but we're going to collect the interest off of that property also. When I tell you that nothing touches real estate, once again, nothing touches real estate. So, this is just one little segment. This is not talking about the apartment buildings. This is talking about some single family homes that you can learn how to create a mortgage on to take care of your family for the next 20 to 30 years. It doesn't require, we teach people, but I'm about to close the door on that, because when I have investors that are coming in with, saying, hey, I'll put $250,000 up, I'll put $1 million up, just that, we'll be the bank. We'll here. See, this is what's going on right now. The investor that I spoke to today, which I know, once again, he has a self-directed IRA. If you're not familiar with the self-directed IRAs, I want you to go to this website, www.trusteTC.com. That's E as in equity, T as in trust, C as in company. EquityTrustCompany.com. So I have my accounts, one of my accounts there. My guys have their accounts there. And today on the phone, and as soon as he called this morning, I let Mary know that we just have an infusion of over $1 million coming into the company now. So I've already put together my team. We have a team around the United States now, and I've trained them how to do properties the way that I do it. And my vice president now is Marcus Mayfield out in Atlanta, Georgia. And we have Kenshawn Gibson in Detroit. We have Latoya. What's Latoya's last name? Is it Carol? Latoya just came with us. She's down in Atlanta. And we have Deborah Taylor Johnson, who's with us, who's an all-star investor, all-star marketer. You've probably seen her on some of our things. We had a power meeting last week. We had breakfast, her, myself, and Mary. And we're formed of an allegiance that has made us so much stronger that we're not going to keep the training part open for much longer. So if you're interested in learning the training, you see, what I've done is I've put people together, and the people that have actually done something, I've promoted them within the company. My Arab friend, actually wants to fund all of the seminars and get a portion of the seminar money that we do. We know that we can do $1 million a weekend in the seminars, taking them around the country. I have a brand new book that's almost completed. We're actually going back to teaching. I started out teaching the tax deed investing course, the excess proceeds, but now we're focusing on the apartment buildings around the country. And that's what Mary is actually here, is actually taken on all of the pre-foreclosures. She's going to run that whole section of the pre-foreclosures. Deborah is going to be in charge of helping with a collaboration. And what I've done is I've offered these people ownership in my company because I've brought in some talented people now. So you're going to see us coming out to your area soon. You're going to see a lot more Facebook advertising from Jones Capital Group. And the people that we have brought on, I think that's going to be it as far as our inner circle. You know, I think I have some committed people here, and everyone brings something to the table. So now, just to be out in this, man, honestly, how does it feel? Did you ever think that you'd be in a position where this lady just told you basically, what is it that you can give me, and you can get ownership of this property for $450, basically, control of this property? How does that feel?
Actually, it feel really good, but in saying that, you know, when I first got on the phones, I was really, really nervous because it was the first time I had ever done it. And of course, you told me, hey, you got to learn sometimes. So he just threw me out there. He just, go for it. I'll let you know what you do wrong, and I'll work with it. So I did my first call. I was pretty nervous. Got a couple things wrong, but got a few things right. And he just worked with me. He was telling me what I need to do, what I need to say, in which to get the information that I need. And as the time went on and the more calls I made, the more confident I became. And now it's like, it's easier to do. And so now, you know, when they say one thing, and like he said, always, the less you say, the more information you're going to get. So I'm getting information from them to let me know how to further proceed with the call. And whatever they say, it triggers something that I may say. So it's interesting. And, you know, of course, like I said, it was a little bit of nervousness there at first, but now I think I'm kind of like a pro. No, but it get easier as you go along.
Yeah. So did it take, was it hard to get them to agree to come from one price down to that lower price that we talked about, and then to get them to open up to owner financing? Because this whole Midwest area, Detroit, Michigan area, Chicago area, these guys already know about land trust. And once again, like I see Mimi there. How you doing, Mimi? I see Al there. How you doing, Al? I see Kenshawn there. You guys got to understand that, like, honestly, like, I would, knowing what I know now, I would tell anyone. This is why I have invited my family here, because we're going to buy up everything here in the Midwest. We're getting it under land contracts. This is the natural state of things. My investor that called me earlier today, he calls me Cecil. He goes, Cecil, he's an Arabic guy, right? And he says, what is going on with you? Are you still out in Detroit? And I said, yeah, I'm still out here. I said, because, you know, I've seen opportunity here that I've never seen in Florida before. We're picking up properties for, some properties we're picking up for no money down. We've just purchased a 1,400 square foot home for a couple of $1,000s, right? We purchased another one with no money down. And now we're going after these properties under, we're either using the owner financing. See, a lot of guys here just do strictly a land contract. But what I like to do is I like to come in with a land trust as well. And people from the Chicago area may understand the Illinois land trust. And that's what we do because we want privacy on our property. To pick up 100 of these properties this year is going to require a lot of my team. being on the phones. That's why you see me training Mary on the phones. And the people that were in earlier on that session, they were like really geeked about it because they were like, this is what I needed. No one teaches the stuff like this. And Mary herself went from being a shy, timid person, voice cracking and everything, to me giving her 8 core questions to ask every single owner. And now, how did it make you feel after you really got that, Mary?
Actually, it did give me more confidence because I knew when I asked the question, what to expect as an answer, and then a follow-up question in which to ask. So it's like I said, it's a learning process, but as you get, the more calls I did, the more confident I became. So I don't mind the phones now because I got 2 possible leads. Well, I'm going to have 2 of them. I do have 2 of them. So a lot of people, and the thing is, the people that I talked to were interested. And the ones, a lot of calls I couldn't get through to, I just left messages for. So I'm certain I'll get calls back on those properties because most people are motivated to sell them. And like I said, the one lady, she started off with how much are you going to pay to, okay, I'll do a rent to own. So it's like, it's a win-win for me.
I mean, we're actually talking on the phone one day. We could have went out today to probably close the deal. But we had so many calls lined up today. And we're returning calls from people who are responding to our mailing campaigns. And to be able to line these properties up for tomorrow, people saying, no, we're not going to church. You can come by tomorrow. To be in that position where it's literally like shooting fish in a very, very small barrel, in a big barrel, maybe a big barrel, right? Everything that you've ever thought that you can do in real estate, it's right here in Detroit. Every single thing. People have walked away from their homes. I find so many properties that are owned by out-of-state owners, and when we're reaching out to them, I mean, they're calling us like over and over and over and over again. Hey, could you, what could you do for this property? I mean, honestly, to pick up properties with no money down is something that is here and there, anywhere else in the country. I believe the best thing going in America is Detroit. Once I found out that Dan Gilbert put almost $2 billion of his money into this town to revitalize this economy, and that the Illages, the owners of Little Caesar's Pizza, right? Little Caesar. I remember when Mary first told me about it, she's like, the Illages. I'm like, well, who the heck is the Illages? And then she's like, pizza. I'm like, oh, Little Caesars. That's right. I forgot about the stadiums that way. I forgot about the Lions. I forgot about the Tigers. I forgot about the Red Wings. I forgot about the Pistons, who were always in Auburn Hills.
They're moving to Detroit.
It's a huge deal for them to come back to Detroit.
So we have all the sports teams.
All the sports teams are right downtown. As soon as I walk down the street, I can see all of the sport. I walk right by them. It's like, wow,
He's amazed every time. I'm sorry. I love the lights.
To see the Joe Louis Arena and all of these things out there. But like, seriously, really, this is from the bottom of my heart. I wish that my grandmother was still alive, because I would have moved my grandmother out here to put her in a mansion that she could have literally got into for a couple of $1,000 out in the Boston Edison area. And I want you guys to understand that, a lot of people are looking for a way out. They don't know what to do. They're on Social Security. They're doing things that they really don't like to do to create income. And when I look out on the landscape of Detroit, all I see is opportunity. I've never seen anything like this before. And please don't get it twisted in thinking that Detroit is some broke town that there's no good in. Because I think that it stopped me from coming here, because my friend told me about Detroit back in 98, 2000, 2002. And he told me that back then, he said, Cecil, you can go to Detroit right now, get a house for $200 plus they'll leave the BMW in the driveway and the big screen TV on the wall. He said they're getting the hell up out of there. But because I didn't know anyone there, and because of what I heard on the news, I let it stop me from this opportunity. But God has a funny way of allowing opportunity to open up to you when you seek it. And I know, like, people who know me know that I've grown up in the church. My mother's a pastor. My grandmother was, people in my family, I grew up in church. I say that to say this. I've seen and heard so many people talking about this transference of wealth from the wicked to the wise. And I've seen so many people getting excited and jumping up and down, doing backflips when they hear that we need to learn to become the lender and not the borrower. Well, is that just talk to you? That's my question. Is it just talk to you? Is it just rhetoric to you? Is it just you reading some literature? If it is, I'm cool with that. But if you really want to know how to apply it, if you really want to know how to leave a legacy to your kids, if you want to learn how to leave a legacy to your grandkids, see, because that's what I'm working on right now. It's the legacy. I have a 6-year-old granddaughter. And to put myself in a position where I'm creating mortgages now. I'm the bank. I'm the lender and not the borrower. And to know that I can put together packages of deals for $1,000 and then put a mortgage on that property for $50,000 and $60,000. 10%, 11% interest in the state of Michigan, I believe it's 11% interest that you can go up to legally, right? To put an 11% interest and to know that when I sell off this property on owner financing for $60,000, by the time they're finished paying it over the next 30 years, and I may or may not be here, but it's going to take care of my daughter, and it's going to take care of my granddaughter, and it'll even take care of her kids. That's what this is about. This is about legacy. So many people talk that talk, but I've always been the person that walked that walk. If you know me, you know that I've always went right when everybody else went left. And I'm telling you that if you get up off of your behind and you come out to this place, which I look at as manna in the land of milk and honey, you are being blessed like you've never seen in your life. Never, ever, ever, ever seen in your life. So for me to get up out of 75, 80-degree weather when I'm walking around with tank tops and flip-flops, to come out here to the cold, to build a legacy for my family, because that's what's important to me. And if that's what's important to you, reach out to us. We're located right in the GM building. Everybody knows the GM building. Everybody knows where the Renaissance Center is. This is where we are. And we're going to continue to do it. We are now community partners with the city of Detroit, in your city. I've set up a nonprofit organization in your city. There's no reason why you can't do it yourself. No reason. So now I've proven that anybody can learn this. Mary she's already in a deal with me, right? So this deal, this deal with the condo. This is a condo out on Inkster, 2-bedroom, about 900 square feet. We actually had a little bit of a mismatch in schedules, but we're actually going to close it Wednesday. What is the rent out there?
I'm not sure. What was it, 850? I'm not sure.
Maybe 7. I think it's maybe in that 7 range. So what we've done is I've come in and I negotiated this deal, 0 money. How much money, Mary, do we put into this? 0. On a condo that may be worth in Inkster about $30,000. And you guys who are from Detroit on Mary's screen here, you know Inkster is a little bit flat. It's not the same as Detroit. It's a little bit flat as far as sales are going on, but the rents are solid. So we've worked out a deal, no money down up front. We're going to pay the guy. See, everybody else was trying to lowball the guy. See, but that's not my strategy. I have some different... I have some different strategies. I basically gave the guy
What do you want?
what I knew he wanted. Because in the art of negotiations, you have to remember there's only 4 tools in negotiations. There's purchase price, there's deposit, there's interest rate, and there's time. See, the type of negotiator that I am, I'll give you the purchase price, I'll give you the interest rate if you bring it up, and I'll give you the down payment if you bring it up. All I want is the time. So if you give me the time to spread it out, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, I'll give you the money that you want, but it's going to be on my terms. See, this is how you negotiate. If someone can't tell you the price, the terms, and the interest rate. That's not negotiation. Huh?
So we want at least one.
Yeah, we want at least one of those. And that's what I've been doing. I've been getting that. So we'll take the time. That's the one. So this is what allows you to, see, let's give you an example. Would you buy a property that's worth $30,000? Would you buy it for $24,000 with no money out of your pocket? You have 5 years to repay it. You can bring in a tenant buyer that's going to give you $5,000 to $10,000 down right up front, which is non-refundable. That's your money. It goes straight into what I like to call HIP National Bank. This is HIP National Bank right here, right? That money goes into there. Now, that's on a rent-to-own basis, right? Rent-to-own means that that person can control that property for a certain amount of time. But here in Michigan, what you guys like to do is something called a land contract. So a land contract now takes me off of the deed, and it puts that person onto the deed. And it gives me the legal right to the property, but it gives them the equitable right to the property. So they're on the hook for the taxes. They're on the hook for the water. They're on the hook for if the tree smashes through the roof. I'm not getting a phone call because I'm not the bank. We have the slogan, think like a bank. Think like a bank. And that's what we've done. We've taken, and this comes from years and years of experience, trials, mishaps, and setbacks, that we're now putting together mortgages on our own property because we're the lender and not the borrower. And if this is something, little pizza, somebody a little pizza there. If this is something that you're interested in doing, I'm coaching people for a limited time now to do this, but we're also bringing in what's called private money lenders. When I made the phone call, my guy called me from Cali, but he's actually in Tampa right now, but he's from Cali, the Arab guy that I told you about, who has the 1.4 million. And when I just told him about the strategy, see, when you talk to the right people about the right thing, right things happen. When you talk to the wrong people who don't understand investments, who don't understand real estate, who don't understand legacy, and I think we all in a basic level understand it, but to understand that you can take your money, put it on a piece of property where you have the first mortgage position, just as if you were Bank of America. You have a promissory note that dictates the term of the mortgage, and then you also have hazard insurance, which you are the additional insured on. So if I drop dead or if I don't do what I say, you still own that property that I picked up for no more than 60 cents on the dollar. And now I'm telling you right now, when I was in Florida, I was picking properties up. I picked some up for 50 cents a dollar. The majority of them was closer to 70%. Since I've been here, we've been picking properties up for 1 cent on a dollar, 5 cents on the dollar. This, and then we're buying them inside of a self-directed IRA that allows us to get all of our profits tax-free because the money's already been taxed. You can't tax it 2 times if you check your IRS laws, right? Can't tax the money twice. So we're putting it inside of money that's already been taxed, and now we're putting in a certain contribution into what's called a Roth, self-directed IRA, and now we're taking $100 and putting it down on a property to control it. We may put an option on the property, or we may put a purchase and sale agreement on the property, and we're bringing in other buyers that have money, and we're seeing returns of $5, $10, $15, $20, $50,000, and all of that money goes back into our self-directed IRA tax-free. So I thank God for the wisdom. I thank God for the people who are on my team currently. I even thank God for the people who were on my team when I was trying to figure this out. I thank God for the people that came in, and I thank God for the people that left. Because the people that left when they told me that they were going to be there, that was their job. I used to get mad when people wouldn't do what they said. But now I understand that I needed them in my life. Because I understand. I remember going to this church back home, and the minister, his name was Bishop Moles. He was good friends with T.D. Jakes. He died a couple of years ago. And one of the things he said to his church as when they were looking to expand, he said that you have to understand that we have starters and we have finishers in our life. And he said the people that were starters don't get mad when the finishers come in, because the finisher's job is to finish, to take you to the finish line. The people that started for you, they were needed and necessary at that time. And so they were expected to fall off. And when you understand that all things really do work together for the good, for those that love the Lord, it's like you can't be mad when certain things happen in your life. You take it as an experience. You take it as part of a journey. And this journey has led me to a place such as this today, where I'm able to take advantage because of all of the mistakes and failures that I've had in my past. And that's the type of people that you want to be around, people that have failed. So many times we're afraid to fail. We're afraid to raise up our hand and say we messed up. But see, this is my thing. This is just how I feel, and you tell me if you feel differently. If you haven't had any failures, and you tell me, well, I've never failed, I've done everything right, I don't even want you on my team, because you're not even going to know what to do when the storm comes. You're not going to know how to handle it. You're going to freak out. So that's just where I'm at in my life right now. I have a strong team around me. I have people that I know that love me, and I love them. And we're going out to be the lender and not the borrower. And I've set up everything that I've needed to set up in this town. And we are opening up another office in Atlanta, Georgia next month. I'm flying down to Georgia at the end of the month, and I've already elevated one of my students to the position of vice president. And he's just on fire, and he's already assembled his little team together. And so I'll be flying back and forth between Detroit and Atlanta. Have another protege who's out in Dallas, Texas, who is doing some things out there. So, this is how I do. I build an organization, right? And I'm kind of like McDonald's, because McDonald's allow you to start on the fries, right? And then before you know it, if you're a good employee, McDonald's, the next thing you know, you're in the executive position with McDonald's. So they build from within. And that's what I've always been looking at, just to have real people around me that do what they say, and that honor their word. And, when you have good people like that around you, when you have a team of people that are action takers. And the thing about this is, I told Mary this from the beginning. I said, you don't have to know it all. You don't have to know everything. Stop thinking that you have to know everything. I've already been through that. What I need is a good team around me. I need a good support system of people who will come in and do what needs to be done. And then I just see Miguel pop up on Mary's screen over here. Miguel is actually in on a deal with us, where Miguel is going to net with me. We're probably going to net at least 60 grand off of this deal. That's it, the traditional way. But we're gonna sell this property off on owner financing, so we'll make about $250,000 off of it. Because you have to understand what happens with interest over time, right? When you buy that house, it says, like, if you bought a house for 100 grand, and you're paying that 6 or 8% interest, over that 30 years, that 100 grand turns into like 300 grand. And that's what we're doing now. We're setting up as the bank. And we have the seminar side of this also, where we're going around the country to actually teach other people how to be the bank also. We're looking to work with people of different nonprofit organizations, different companies, show people how to set their family up. Think like a bank, people, that's right. Show people how to set their family up to be able to do this. See, because it's all about legacy, guys. All about legacy. And Mary, I just want you to open up, just to maybe say a couple of things to your people that may be watching on your line over there.
Okay, as Cecil said, he's been here a couple months now, and I'm learning, and other people have joined the team. They're learning as well. And for the people, like I said, that saying, oh, after the holidays, I really always wanted to learn how to do this. I have a day job or whatever the case may be. Now is the time, because if not now, when? I guess that's the biggest thing. If not now, when? Because we'll keep putting it off. Of course, it's about fear. You fear in the unknown. But in saying that, you see what we're doing. You're seeing, actually, the video should help you make a decision, because you see us in action. You see the phone calls. We letting you know about the marketing. So it's not like you're caught blindsided. And you can only go up from here. The thing is, when you have a good mentor, Cecil's great. You got a good team. We got good people around us. And I would like to see the Detroiters take an active part, because like he already told you, he got somebody from California that's coming here. He got his family from Connecticut. He got other people that's interested in what we're doing here. And I'm finding it hard to believe that the people that we have right here in our own backyard, if you like me, because you didn't know what to do and you never had anybody, when you showed the interest, you didn't have anybody on your team in which, to help you out. Well, now you do. And for somebody to come, we all know Detroit is up and coming. Detroit is nothing like it used to be. Like I said, a lot of people moved out, but other people are moving in. And in saying that, if we don't take advantage of this right now, then when are you going to take advantage, if at all? Do you even want to leave a legacy, or are you content with living paycheck to paycheck? And that's my thing. I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. I want a financial freedom. I want to be able to quit my job. I feel like I'm not getting paid my worth anyway, and I value myself, and I'm certain, you value yours, and I would rather work for myself by working for someone. In saying that, hey, you've seen these videos, you know what's out there. We've been doing it for 2 months now, and like I said, a lot of people have inboxed me and said they're interested, or, the timing is not right. So if not now, when?
Well, here's the thing with that. With Sadir coming in and teaming up, and a lot of the guys, I wasn't telling the people that I know about this. We've been kind of silently putting the word out right around here, because, I wanted to give the people right here an opportunity to be able to come in and take advantage of the opportunity. But at the end of the day, somebody has to write a check. Somebody has to come in to get these properties, to get them fixed up. Someone has to come in and know how to get all of these apartment buildings that are just sitting here. We were riding around town earlier today, just stopping, because there's still buildings that we haven't even seen as we're riding around that are just sitting there vacant. And when you become a partner with the city of Detroit, you're now able, I have a list right now of all of the apartment buildings that are available in the city of Detroit. And they're not only going to give me access to the buildings, they're also going to give me grant money to fix those buildings up. So I actually met a gentleman right here in the office today that has done the same thing. And when I had the meeting with Deborah Taylor last week, she knows another woman that's been doing the same thing also. So Detroit wants to come back. People love Detroit. The citizens here are adamant about the love for the city, but we just don't know what to do. And I can tell you this, when we were out, see, one of the things that I love about here too is that when we go out to purchase a property, we're able to actually go through them and inspect them. And when we're out inspecting these properties, I don't see us buying the properties. I see everyone else buying them. I see people bringing their family. I see the Arabs. I see I see the Jews, I see the Italians, I see even Haitians. I see people coming together to get this, and there's nothing that you can say to me. I don't care, what substance someone may be on. You can come together with somebody and put $1,000 together to buy a house. Seriously, it may need a little bit of work. Some may need a lot of work, but to be able to still, let's just say, see, the thing is that most people don't understand. You think I don't have the money, but when you have a great deal, the money always appears. Because I could right now put a property on Craigslist. I could put a property on Backpage or Zillow, in the newspaper. I could put flyers in the laundromats, or just start talking to the banker at my bank and say, listen, I have a property that once it's fixed up, it's going to be worth $70,000. I've already purchased it. I own it free and clear. I'm looking for a money partner. I'm looking for a money partner to bring $10,000 into the picture. We're going to fix it up and we're going to sell it for $70,000. That's a huge return for someone. And people like me are looking for deals like that, and we're looking to maybe get a high interest rate. Well, also, don't be afraid to tell someone that you can come in as an equity partner, and I'll give you 25% of the profits. Because that person, once they come in and loan you the money, and they have the first lien position on the mortgage and the note, after they get their money back, which they will, do you think they're going to want to stop after that? Or do you think they want to keep making their money over and over when they've already lost it in the stock market, took it out, put it inside of some low-yielding checking account that's getting 0.001%, or sitting in a CD account getting 1 to 2%? Or do you think they'd like to do business with you because you know how to find the properties? I don't think it's a hard question. I think that you know the answer when you really look inside of your soul. So, we're going to, I believe next month is the last month, right before I leave for Atlanta. When I come back, we're not doing the coaching anymore. So you won't have the opportunity to keep hemming and hawing. One thing that I've learned over time is that, when you're talking about the universe, laws of attraction, is that wealth is attracted to speed. If you want to take it the biblical way or religious way, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. That goes for women too. So if you can't even make a decision and decide that you want to create wealth for your family and leave a legacy, then the things that you're looking for probably won't happen, because the universe, God, whoever you want to call it, respects the person that can make a decision. This is not only biblical, but it's also personal development. It's also the universal laws. So whichever way you look at it, whichever way you understand it, you have to be able to make a decision. And I have Miguel right here. Miguel, I commend you, my brother, for trusting in me to come in on a deal with me, and we've never even met in person. We're going to meet in person for the first time this weekend, as Miguel is coming out to Detroit now to not only work on this property with us. He's making a sacrifice, and if we got to work on weekends, I'm not a handyman, I'll tell you that right up front, but I know how to find some banging deals for us, right? So everybody brings something to the table, and to be able to see this young man put faith inside of me, I hold that in the highest regard. It means so much to me that you don't understand. And at the end of the day, we're going to do a great transaction together. We're going to split a whole lot of money together, and we're going to do it over and over and over again. Miguel will probably end up running our property management company, and we'll have a division here in Detroit. We'll have a division in Atlanta. We'll have a division back in my hometown. We'll have a division in Florida. We're just going to keep doing this all over the place, over and over and over and over again. So if you've been someone that's with me, or you know somebody that knows Mary, all I can tell you is, and it doesn't even matter what I say, but I've been doing it for 15 years. So I haven't had a job since February 17th, 2006. And you'll notice that every single time I say it, it's always the same date. And I can tell you this, Mary, when you walk away from your job,
I'm going to remember the day.
You'll never forget the day. You will never, ever forget the day. And that is going to happen this year in 2017. It's going to happen for Miguel this year in 2017. It's going to happen for Marcus down there in Atlanta in 2017. So this is what this is all about. There's a saying that says, success leaves clues. And what I've done is I've taken my years of mistakes, figured some things out, continued to take action in spite of what everybody else said or thought. And now I've come from a state of being a raw piece of coal to becoming a diamond, to becoming a piece of lead, so to speak, that has allowed alchemy to come into my life and pull out the impurities of the lead and turn it to gold. And that's what we are teaching. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So with that being said, Mary's still on a date. Listen, we've been out here on a Saturday all day long. We've been doing deals. We've been doing videos to show people that this is real and we're dedicated and committed to this. This is not a hobby for us. This is not something that I said, let me just pick this up off the ground and try it out. This is real to me. This is what has allowed me to not only walk away from my job, but to buy houses in different cities, to buy investment properties in different cities, to flip properties all over the country, to be able to build something nice, something that I can sit back at the end of the day and I can probably hear the voice say to me, job well done, son. Job well done. And part of my giving back, because I understand the laws of the universe, my giving back is sharing my gift with other people who want to find out how to replicate this whole process. And I know for a fact that nothing beats real estate. No internet marketing, no network marketing, no tea, no coffee, no tampons, no, because they're selling everything now. And if you just understand that everything that's being sold is duplicatable except for real estate. They're not bootlegging houses. At least not here in America yet. All right? We have the one product that everyone needs, no matter what part of town you live in. If you're a gangster, if you're a nerd, if you're a geek, if you're an engineer, if you're a minister, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you need somewhere to lay your head. And we have the best product going. And we're finding properties that are undervalued because they're in disrepair or blighted. And we're coming in, putting in the money to fix them up, to increase the value. This is called forced appreciation. And we're increasing the value so dramatically that the profits that we are bringing in, we're willing to share with other people who want to come into this. So I've been talking all day long. I think we just ate some soup and half a sandwich and watched the movie American Hustle and came right back up here. Guys, once again, if this is something that you want, I'm going to probably retire from teaching this to people after next month for a while. And if it's something that you are interested in, you can go to flipmylifeclub.com, go to the bottom, hit the yellow button, sign up for a one-on-one consulting. You'll either speak to myself, Marcus, or Mary, and we take it from there. But with that being said, I appreciate you coming in on this call, on this video, and if you know like I know, you do whatever it takes to invest in Detroit. I'm trying to tell you, this is like the gold rush of 1865. Remember, people were actually leaving. Flip My Life Club. Write it up there. Flip My Life Club, Miguel. You're doing like Mary now. People were actually leaving the East Coast and going to the West Coast. And we've had the opportunity to actually see it live ourselves. Like people from New York, people from California. Met a guy from California his market is Wayne State University. And I never even heard of Wayne State University before I got here, but it's a medical college, right? It's a
Engineer.
College. Engineers.
It's a top college as well. So.
Yeah, it's one of the top colleges in the country for medical students, and I didn't even know. Who knew, right? So this guy is fixing up properties around the surrounding area, and he's getting like triple the rents.
He's written out rooms, and not only is he's written out apartments for like $1,500 a month just because of the area, and students are paying to live in that area. So this guy, he's doing it big, and he's doing it big. And Miguel, I wanted to say, I like that one. live and work for your dream, not someone else's. And that's what we do. We working for somebody else's dream. Well, what about your own? So, that's something to think about. Making somebody else rich, why not make yourself rich?
It's all about financial freedom, guys. All about financial freedom. If anybody has any questions that's looking on here, you want to shoot out a question, I would be more than happy to answer that question. If you're interested, if getting into learning how to do this so that you can take care of your family, put it out there. We'll definitely answer any question.
And even with saying that, even if you don't want to learn this, but you want to invest, that'd be good too. And you could go to Cecil's webpage if you're his friend or mine. You can inbox me and just let me know. And we'll be more than happy to help. We'll be out next week doing the same thing, looking at properties, new opportunities that way. And Cecil, his thing is now it's apartment buildings, and we're gonna make it do. We're gonna make it work in Detroit. Detroiters, you need to get on board with what's going on. Don't let it pass you by. Like I said, the reason I didn't was because I didn't have anyone here to help. But in saying that, Cecil, he knows what he's doing. As a matter of fact, I think I just tagged him in hey, my mentor is better than yours. So in saying that, he's a great mentor. He's always there. When you pick up the phone, just a phone call. I know Miguel, you already know. You pick up the phone, you call him day or night. He's going to be there to answer whatever questions you have. And if he doesn't answer them, which 9 times out of 10 he would, and he hasn't been because he's been sick. But you got Marcus, and everybody is willing to contribute whatever knowledge they know. So this team is powerful, and we're going to be doing big things all over.
And I just want to piggyback in. Guys, I've been talking all day. I'm just piggybacking on Mary was talking about the apartment buildings. I come from the projects, welfare, single mother. You know the story, the average black person. I don't know if it's average, but it's average to me. When I grew up, I grew up in the time when Donald Trump was at his peak. Mary and I have our little opinions about him as a politician, but what she doesn't know is I don't support him as a politician. I respect and admire him as a real estate investor because he has done some great things with real estate, and I understand real estate. I know what he's done with options, and I know what he's done with apartment buildings. I know what he's done with golf courses. I know what he's done. With that being said, I always wanted to emulate his success. I always wanted to have Jones Towers. I've always wanted to have land where I could have my own community and call it Jonestown. Well, now I have that land. I have land out in North Carolina. I got like 11 and a half acres out there where I'm actually going to do the whole forced depreciation thing, and we're going to build properties on that land, and we're probably looking at building these houses for about a $50,000 a profit per house, which we can put over 100 properties inside of that house, inside of that land. But with land aside, what I've learned how to do is I've learned how to come in on apartment buildings in a creative way, where I don't have to go to a bank and get a loan. My credit score is never going to be checked. And I can now do the same things with apartment buildings, and it doesn't matter if it's 5 units or if it's 500 units. If I can get direct access to that owner and find out what their motivation is, I can end up landing a deal. I've actually taught this to a lot of our proteges, and I've taught it to one who's really knocking out the box is Marcus Mayfield. You guys see us going back and forth. We actually had 3 deals, and they were all blown up by real estate agents that we're going to now come back around, because I told you we have an infusion of cash now that has just come in to the company of over $1 million. So we're going to use that infusion of cash to come in to these apartment buildings to control them for 3 to 10 years, turn them around, and we're going to take that money and use it for rehab money. So I'm going to give you an example of what we're doing now. Let's just say that someone has we'll just use a round number. Let's just say someone has a 10-unit apartment building. And we're looking for buildings that are no less than like 70% occupancy, but I will consider 60% occupancy if there's not a lot of work that needs to be done on that property. So let's just say it's 60% occupancy. So there's a 10-unit apartment building. 6 of them are full, 4 of them are empty. What we're doing is we have database now that can identify every single apartment in the country, right? So I'm reaching out directly to people who have loans coming due, and people who are in pre-foreclosure, people who are tired landlords. And let's just say I reach out to, and let's just say Mary's an apartment owner, and Mary has an apartment. She's older now. You have to understand that the average apartment building owner is about 48 when they buy their property. After 20 years, they're about 68, right? So they're tired. A lot of them are tired, and they just want to retire and have cash flow coming in without the headaches of that property. So I'd reach out to Mary. And send her a letter basically stating that whatever her current net operating income is, I will give her that. So if she has 6 units that are occupied and she's making $1,000 a month, I will continue to become her master tenant on her apartment building. I'll take care of everything else that's going on. If the tenants don't pay, I'll still pay, but I will continue to give her her $6,000 a month. That's her, if that's her net operating income. So what happens is, because the property's in disrepair, there are 4 other units that are still available, but she's not getting any money from. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our money and come in, and we're going to repair those 4 other properties. Now, what we've just done in rehabbing those 4 units is we've created an income stream of $4,000 a month. Right? Now that money is going to come to us. We're going to continue to give her her $6,000. But now she is not the landlord anymore. We are her master tenant. So because we're doing it this way, we don't have to pre-qualify for a mortgage. No one's going to ask us what our credit score is, because we have the cash to come in to either put down a deposit on that property and control it. And now there's another side to it, which is an option agreement to that property also, which will be recorded on that property. And now we've locked in the price. So let's just say the price that we locked in was $300,000 for the building. Well, once we come in, when you come into a new building, when there's new ownership, tenants know that the rent's going to go up. So we're not going to disappoint them. We're going to raise the rent, right? Maybe it's $25 a door. Maybe it's $50. Maybe just say $25 a door. So that's 10 units now that we just collected an extra $25, and that's $250 a month, which is over $2,500 a year. Now we've just increased the income of that property, because properties 5 units and above, the way you find out the income is the value is based off of the income that's coming in. So we're going to increase the income, we're going to lower the expenses, and we're going to create the cushion in between. We're going to stabilize this building. We're going to turn it around in maybe 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years. And because we have that option on that property, we are now an active manager in this property. We can now, when it's time for us to buy, after we've raised the income, we can give that person their $300, because we've probably raised the value to $500. Now we can pay off that person by doing a refinance. When you do a refinance, you do not have to put money down on an apartment building. So that's the way we're getting around that. If this is something, these strategies that we're using, if you're interested in getting involved and you figure out that we figured it out, we're always opening up for private money lenders. If you want to come in and be a private money lender, if you happen to be a private money lender, your money will never come directly to us. It will go to our attorney or to our title company. You'll give them instructions on how the money is to be allocated. It will come in and it will close the deal on the property. You'll get a mortgage. You'll get a promissory note. You'll get insurance on the property. And we're going to pay you either monthly interest payments or quarterly interest payments. And it has to be money that's ready to sit to the side for a specific amount of time. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, we got so many more things, tax deeds, probate, so many more different things going on that we're actually now having our proteges who are in our company with us to teach them how to run those divisions. So what we're doing our best to eradicate poverty, and we're taking this around on a seminar set. We have books out. We have people that are making money in this thing now. And this is what it's all about. Once again, become the lender and not the borrower. All right? Transference of wealth. we've figured out how to do it. We're not just reading it or quoting it. We're actually doing these things that most people would just sit back and read and then do nothing in life. All right? It's not a knock on anyone, it's just the truth. You have action takers and you have people that just talk. All right? We're action takers. All right? So with that being said, that's pretty much it. I've talked your ear off. I'm glad you stayed on with us. What's that Miguel say over there?
Mary, so proud of you. Seeing your confidence grow every time you go live.
Yeah, she's come a long way.
Thanks,
right,
Miguel.
She's come a long way. And
Thanks.
this is my gift. This is what I have to give back. It's such an amazing gift. It's such an amazing talent. I understand what my assignment is. People who are coming around me understand what their assignment is. And so many of us are holding on to our gifts and we're not releasing them to the world. And that's what this is all about. Releasing your gift to the world. Understanding what it is that you're passionate about and releasing it to the world.
You hear that, Miguel? That's why. That's why I'm releasing my gift to the world. So, but thanks a lot.
All right, guys. We're running down on time. We got to get ready to get up out of here. And just like on Shark Tank, for that reason, I'm out. Take care. Thank you very much. Namaste.
You got yours. Oh, don't even look at